Good day. My name is David Gaynor and I'm the Cultural Attaché at the U.S. Embassy in Prague. And today we have the pleasure of having our Chargé d'Affaires, Mary Thompson-Jones, with us. Recently we had a visit from President of the United States Barack Obama and the First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama. And Mary, you had the pleasure of actually riding in the motorcade with them. Could you describe it a little?
Yes, actually I was extremely lucky and I got to ride in the President's limo. One of the bits of trivia is that this car, this limo, is called the Beast. It's a Cadillac, 2009, entered into service on January 20th, and on the inside it's very much like a normal limo. The President and the First Lady sit facing the front. Then I sat sort of knee to knee with the President, and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton sat on my right. And it was a really fun ride from the airport all the way to the Hilton Hotel. It lasted about 15 minutes, and it was certainly the most exciting and fascinating 15 minutes that I've had in my entire career as a diplomat.
What did you talk about?
Well, the President really surprised me because, as you might imagine, I was quite nervous and I'd had a lot of sleepless nights imagining what I would talk about. I tried to be as up-to-date as possible about every possible question on the Czech Republic, figuring this was my strong suit. And indeed, we talked a little bit about recent Czech history, Czech developments. I was really pleased to learn that of all the appointments that President Obama would have, the one that he was particularly relishing was the one with former President Havel. He told me with great enthusiasm how he had read many of Havel's books and was just really looking forward to having a nice conversation with President Havel. And I'm glad to say that I think we fulfilled his wish, and both gentlemen did have a really nice conversation.
And the First Lady, did you have a chance to chat with the First Lady?
Yes, she was an active listener, as we say, very curious about Czech economic figures, the unemployment rate, and how the Czech Republic was weathering the global economic financial crisis. We also turned the conversation a little bit to more cultural issues. For example, we talked about the changes in Czech people from the time when President Havel was in charge of the country and the entire Charter 77 movement of dissidents, and how the country has changed to today with a whole new generations of Czechs who for the last 20 years have lived in freedom and didn't grow up knowing communism, and the kind of societal changes that has meant, and the importance of trying to continue to have a connection. Back 20 years ago, when President Havel came to office, there was an automatic connection between the Czech Republic and the United States. Now I think more young Czechs think that they're part of Europe, and it's important for Americans to make the case that while we're glad that they're part of Europe, we also want to maintain our transatlantic relationship. And that spawned a lot of interesting comments from both President Obama and his wife, and also from Secretary Hillary Clinton. We had a really fascinating discussion, and the time sort of flew by.
Well, thank you so much, Mary, for your conversation.
Well, you're welcome. If I could add one last thing that seemed to be very exciting for the President was looking at all the Czech people who lined both sides of the street. They were waving American and Czech flags, and it really took him by surprise. He was so pleased, and he regretted that the windows on the vehicle were very tinted, and he tried hard to wave, and he said, "It's really a shame we can't roll down the windows. I'd really like to greet all these people. It was so nice to turn out for us."
Especially since he arrived a little late, from what I remember.
He did, but it was still daylight. It was around 6 o'clock in the evening, and it was a beautiful, one of the first nice days of spring. A lot of people were out just enjoying the weather with their families, and they were all lining Evropská Street and then the other streets along the route to the hotel, and it was really kind of fun. You're welcome.